Hey Georgetown, my name's Justin. I'm a freshman in the college studying government and journalism. Today I'm going to be answering some of the questions that you guys asked me on Instagram on our Georgetown University Instagram story. There was a lot, so I tried to group them together, but let's just jump right into it. I'm going to start with GU politics. There were a lot of questions about that, and I feel like that's a good start because that was my start into Georgetown and campus life. So actually, the first question was, did I do a pre-orientation program? So I did. I did the GU Politics Campaign Boot Camp, which I would highly recommend doing. Um, GU Politics is really cool. They get a lot of guest speakers, but I really recommend pre-orientation program. I know people that were in the business one. I know people that were in the leadership one. All of my friends actually that I still hang out with and get dinner with every night are from my pre-orientation program. So not only is it just a fun way to kind of um, jump right into what Georgetown's known for, and what DC's known for, politics. It's just a really cool way to meet people and meet some of the friends that you might end up spending a lot of time with. So the next question was, how does GU Politics work? So GU Politics has a lot of programs. They have guest speakers that are open to everyone. Events they have on the record and on the fly, which are the campus's political newspaper and political podcast. They have student strategy teams, which is really cool. I'm actually serving on a student strategy team now. So what that looks like is every semester Georgetown gets a group of political fellows. I'm working with Meg Kennard, who's a national politics reporter from the Associated Press. It's really cool. We get to meet with Meg every week. We kind of see how things are going and then help her lead her discussion groups. So what that is, you walk into the GU Politics living room, you sign in, it's open to anyone. Students, friends of students, and we kind of just hear experts in their field talk about what they do and give us advice. So I'd highly recommend getting involved with GU Politics. Okay, so continuing on the same thread, let's talk a little bit about campus life and extracurriculars. I got a lot of questions about that. So someone asked me about what cool opportunities are available for Doyle Fellows. So I'm actually part of the inaugural Doyle Dialogue Fellows cohort. What that is, with the Berkeley Center, I applied for it a few months ago. I heard back relatively soon, and we just started up in January. So what that is we work on intersectionality, whether it's between interreligious dialogue, whether it's interracial dialogue, interclass. There's so many things that I feel like, especially in today's day and age, need addressing and need talking across those lines. So that's kind of what we're being trained to do. We're being trained to facilitate hard conversations, and ultimately we'll lead those conversations in the future for other campus groups. So that's really cool. Someone else asked me about the Georgetown NAACP. I'd highly recommend joining. We do a lot of cool events. I'm actually on the board, so I'm the press and publicity chair. I did that because I wanted to get involved with something cultural, and I feel like that's my creative outlet as someone who's interested in journalism, who's interested in marketing. So it's kind of just a way for me to hone my skills, but also have fun and give back. We've done a few events, political events. We've done a few just bonding events. So it's really fun, and I think we're really stepping it up from what I've heard the chapter did last year. So I think we're making some good progress there. Why did I join The Voice? So I have ambition to work in journalism. We'll see if that changes over the next 4 years, but I definitely think that getting experience working on a campus publication is crucial, and The Voice is open. There's no limitations to applying. There's no application actually, so you just come, you write what you want to write. I actually got a really cool opportunity to interview some candidates that were running for the DNC, the Democratic National Committee, when we hosted their forum here at Georgetown. So they're really open, they're really accessible. It's a really nice community. So yeah, this kind of goes into why I came to Georgetown, but I've always been interested in government, journalism, and I was actually deciding between the two, going to a school that was the top journalism school in the country and going to one of the best political charged schools in the country. And ultimately I realized that you can replicate a journalism program. Georgetown has a great journalism program, but you can't replicate location. And I think that's the great thing about having classes every day in DC, having speakers that work in DC come talk to you. on their off time, having professors that work in the field um, teach on their time off on the evenings. I think that's really what makes sets Georgetown apart politically, and that's why I chose Georgetown, and that's what makes GU politics so great, is that we're at the epicenter of everything. So not only because of name recognition, but just because of convenience, we get a lot of cool people to come talk to us and mentor us. So yeah. So kind of continuing along that same vein of the Georgetown experience, since I've decided to come, I think I can kind of lump two questions into one. And someone asked, what's been the most rewarding experience so far at Georgetown? And what's something that surprised me about Georgetown? So I definitely say, to answer both questions in one, that something that's been very rewarding and also very surprising is just how involved you can get. I will say, I also got questions about like the workload and what that looks like. I definitely say what you put into it, or like what you want to get out of Georgetown, depends on what you put into it, if that makes sense. Like for example, I went to my first voice meeting last fall. First meeting I was able to raise my hand, volunteer to cover the GU Politics Fellows that I was discussing a little bit earlier. So all that is to say, like I was a freshman, first meeting ever, little experience, and they kind of just like threw me in the deep end and let me cover some of the biggest high-profile people that were coming to campus for the semester. Like similarly, how I covered the DNCA forum, how I'm on Georgetown's Instagram somehow. Like I will definitely say that my favorite thing about Georgetown, and just something that surprised me, is how much I can get out of it. And like if I want something, I can really achieve it here. So yeah. So let's transition a little bit and talk about campus life at Georgetown and traditions and things like that. So I'm just going to pick a random question. Someone asked me what my favorite tradition is. I honestly have not been here long enough, I feel like, to have a good answer on this, but I will say that I'm looking really forward to Georgetown Day. Actually, I'll say homecoming, because Georgetown Day and homecoming are kind of the same thing, different semesters. Homecoming was really fun because it was right in the beginning of the year. It was while we were kind of like in the thick of having work, and we were already adjusted to the workload that Georgetown brings. And it's really just where you hang out with your friends, you go to different parties. There's a lot of on-campus events celebrating alumni, but also current students. And I think Georgetown Day is kind of the same, where we all realize that we've put on a lot of hard work on the daily here at Georgetown. So it's kind of just a way for all of us to kick back, relax, and have some fun, and to celebrate all the work that we've been putting in. So another campus life question. Best way to meet people around campus. So I'll definitely say, if you're a freshman starting out, I definitely recommend the pre-orientation programs, just because that's just like the easiest way to meet people before other people are here. So you kind of just get a jump start. But I think with Georgetown, like, clubs are big here. That doesn't mean that you have to apply for all of the, cutthroat, hard to get clubs. But I will say, like join. I have friends in the baking society that just started, friends in the grilling society, friends in the 2-round application consulting clubs. I have friends from The Voice. I have friends from my pre-op. Like, I think everyone has friends that kind of overlap, because we're all into so many different campus groups. And everyone's in like a career campus group, so everyone's in a fun campus group. And I think that's just the way to kind of extend your network here and meet new people. And that's also how a lot of like extracurricular parties and things happen. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on here. So the next two questions kind of go hand in hand. So two people asked, what do you do at Georgetown in your limited leisure time, and how do you balance school and extracurriculars? So I definitely say, you'll probably hear this a lot if you haven't already, it's important to break the Georgetown bubble, which just means that Georgetown, we don't have a metro stop on campus, so it takes effort to get out of the Georgetown campus, or the town of Georgetown. But I will say that honestly, just getting off campus is enough for me. I do try to get into the city as much as I can, like with my friends. Like we went to the zoo, we've been monumenting a few times, we've been to the museums. That's all really fun. But I will say, the way that I organize my schedule, my class schedule this semester, opposed to my first semester, freshman fall, was just having time. I find that I am not only the most productive after this, but also I just feel the best mentally when I have a little time to get off campus, go on little side quests, like get Chipotle with a friend, or go to TJ Maxx and shop a little bit. I definitely say that just like breaking out of campus, even if it's for like a walk by yourself with your headphones on or with friends to Trader Joe's. Like that's just the way to kind of get through the week, especially when the workload gets a little tough. Favorite dining spot. I actually do have an article that hopefully we can link below or like put a picture of it here. But I do really like 7th Street Burger. I've had that like twice in the last 2 weeks. So, okay, we're running out of time a little bit, but let's talk about my favorite class this semester. So, your freshman year, you're definitely going to take a lot of core requirement classes. So, at Georgetown, depending on what school you're in, you have a core curriculum regardless, but it kind of differs depending on what school you're in. I'm in the College of Arts and Sciences, so there's pretty good, it's manageable, but there's a pretty hefty core requirement. So my freshman fall, I focused on banging out a bunch of core classes. So I did like my math requirement. I did a stats class. I started doing a couple major classes to see. I knew I wanted to be a gov major, but I wanted to make sure. So I took the first class in that core sequence. This semester, I'm kind of like changing it up a little bit. So I am taking like a journalism class because I'm hoping to minor in journalism. I'm taking another gov class. My favorite would definitely be my history 1099 requirement. So I think that just kind of shows that even though you have a core requirement, it's not tricky. It's not brutal. It can be fun. My class is history 1099, race, policing, and incarceration. So that's basically just talking about how the prison system in the United States has evolved since before the Civil War to after until the present day. So yeah. So I think this last question is a great segue just into the end of this video and me kind of telling you why you should come to Georgetown if you haven't decided already. So someone asked me, do I remember when I got my acceptance letter for Georgetown? So I actually do. I tell this story all the time, but I was at my best friend from home surprise birthday party. It was December 15th of last year. And the whole day I had a headache. Georgetown and another school were coming out at the same time. I didn't even tour Georgetown before applying because I was just like, there's no way I get in. So I go in my friend's garage. All of my friends follow me. I'm like, no, don't. I'm not getting in. I call my mom. She's like, whatever happens, it's fine. And then I wind up getting into Georgetown. So that was huge. I didn't decide until like the last week. But I think the reason that I did decide why Georgetown, touched on a little bit earlier, but I always wanted to go somewhere that was close to a city. I'm from like a suburban New York, upstate, and I wanted to go somewhere that's close to a city but not living right in the city. And I think Georgetown and a couple other schools that were kind of on my short list towards the end of the time I had to decide were all kind of fit that category. I wanted to do journalism and government. I was between a really good government school, Georgetown, and a really good journalism school. And ultimately I decided that it would be crazy to pass up Georgetown if I had like any inkling of wanting to study politics, wanting to live in the nation's capital. And yeah, so the rest is history. I'm enjoying it. I really like Georgetown. I know you will too. So Hoya Saxa and commit to Georgetown.